What's going on, everybody? So today, let's talk about the update as my thoughts had some time to marinate while we do some ship farming in the background. So realistically, the reason why the video is titled the way it is and the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I believe Diablo Immortal has completely basically stabbed a portion of their player base in the back. I guess you could consider this was never their target audience, but I believe that after this update, the veteran player base would basically be no more or very, very dwindled. Now, this is something that I've seen across my analytics on my channel, across the game, and even recently in the comment section on some of my videos, there have been a few of you that have reflected this kind of analytical perspective that I've had, and that is all veteran players are basically leaving the game. Now, why is this? Well, there's a few things why, and I went over, a lot of us creators kind of made quitting videos in terms of why are people quitting Diablo Immortal, because that's where the community was at. Now, there's a few things that I mentioned, as well as Darth mentioned in our video last week on my channel here, and let me just go over the things that we suggested that would bring some players back. First off, set item conversions, like the essence transfer system. That is not in the game or will not be coming, at least from the new update. The second thing would be some sort of way to kind of grind progression in the game. That isn't really coming, and I'll talk on this a little bit because there is some sort of progression system coming, but it's not exactly what we want. And the third thing is to make sure that the casual / loner solo player base can access all the content and do it efficiently. Not even necessarily efficiently, but just be able to participate in it. And that is exactly the opposite of what's happening, at least that third point. So addressing these few things, the reason why I wanted to make this video is because of those three things and the update, but also as I've been looking at my analytics here, just to talk on why I think the veteran player base is pretty much all but gone. My analytics basically tell me that I have a large portion of my returning viewers are dropping, and I have a lot more new audience members. So in that case, that means that the veteran players are dropping, and then I am acquiring new people that are joining and playing the game for the first time. This is conducive with all of my analytics. A lot of you clans out there have noticed the same thing. You're having to recruit mass amounts because entire clans are collapsing because people don't want to play the game anymore. And even in my comment section in the last couple of videos here, talking about boosted dungeons or non-boosted dungeons. I made a video on non-boosted dungeon rates, and one of the most common comments on that video was actually, what are boosted dungeons? And honestly, it's something that I had not even really thought about. I had not thought about explaining to you all what boosted dungeons were, because I kind of took that information for granted because it is a very kind of basic mechanic that we all kind of went over early on in our Diablo Immortal careers, but with all the new players coming in, they've never heard any of this before. So there's a bunch of different things that are pointing in this direction. And the main reasons are, with this update, it's just a complete flop when addressing the veteran player base, right? So one of the biggest gripes was some sort of progression mode for a lot of players to get power, and the solo players. That is a huge portion of our player base, is people that just want to play solo. And guess what? Not only are they not letting people playing solo because they still have that 2-person dungeon requirement and things like that, they are doubling down on the fact that all new content going forward must be done with warbands, and any new progression system that might have added is done with warbands. The only content outside of warbands that they added were new pay-to-win gems, which some of them are actually very good. Even the free-to-play gems, like the 1- and 2-star gems, which aren't necessarily free-to-play, but legendary gems that are 1- and 2 stars are actually quite good. And they added a 5-star gem. They added a limited banner event, which is, again, a pay-to-win event. And then they added a new set, a new dungeon, and a couple of things like that. So that is really, really underwhelming for the veteran player base. There is almost nothing for them to really keep them in the game. There's no reason to log in daily and grind. In fact, the veteran player base, let's say they still enjoy the game, well, those players can just quit the game for a week, come back, and then instantly be as strong or very close to as strong as I will be, even with grinding 3 to 4 hours a day at this point. So there is no incentive to even log in. There's literally no reason to log in. Not regardless of the game being fun or not, or whatever your opinion is, there is no reason why you should log in terms of there's nothing you're missing out on. And that's a key things with mobile games. One of the biggest things to keep your player base in the game and playing your game is, for most mobile games, it's constant events that encourage you to log in and progress your account. In this game, there's no such thing as progressing your account. You just get gear, which you could have done a week later at the same difficulty, because whether you're at 5,200 combat rating or 5,600 combat rating, you're equally as strong in the only difficulty left, that is Health 5. So that's a huge, huge issue for the majority of the veteran player base, and that's one of the biggest reasons why people are leaving. Now, regardless of all of the progression sense, then we have a whole portion of player base, casual or not, that literally just can't play the game because the content that they're adding isn't even for them. This doesn't add anything for a lot of players, because not only are you just not going to be able to participate in the content, but the content is so focused on doing certain things to progress your legendary items, which aren't even necessarily the things that are gatekeeping us from certain pieces of content. And on top of all of that, there is no new real content in terms of something new and exciting. And what I mean by this is, yes, we may be getting new legendary items with new modifications on our legendary items. Let's see if we can essence transfer and have the new legendary effects. But what are we using that for? We are going to use that for the same open world grinding, which again, doesn't progress our character. It all goes back to this same thing. The new content they're adding gives us bonuses to do something that doesn't even progress our character. So if we have no reason to grind or play the game, even casually, keep in mind that the target audience for this game is not your veteran casual or grinders. It's going to be your casual 2 to 3, maybe even less time a day in the game. Why do people log in for 2 to 3 hours a day in the game anyways? There's literally no reason. The only reason that I think is something that actually progresses your character, albeit extremely slowly, is going to be acquiring your normal gems every day. That's pretty much the only thing that I think is worthwhile in terms of doing, because those things are incredibly important for progressing your normal gem stats, and that's the only thing that really progresses your character at this point. So if we're getting new items, new weapons, new power-ups, great. But you need some reason or some incentive why people want to use those, right? You can't just add new mechanics or new things like that, and then you don't have anywhere for people to actually experience the game and enjoy it, right? What are we going to do with those new power-ups? We're going to run back into Realm of Damnation and circle farm, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Keep in mind, I'm not saying that the whole premise of the game is bad, because the circle farming is generally what you're going to be doing in any Diablo game, right? Let's say you're doing D3. What are you going to do? You're going to go and run through Greater Rifts over and over and over again to get loot. What are you going to do in like Path of Exile? You're going to do mapping. You run around and kill monsters. That's the standard type of these games. The problem isn't that that's the content. The problem is that the content that normally applies to these games, like what I just mentioned, literally does nothing in this game to progress your character. And that's really what it boils down to. Every single conversation, there is no way to progress your character on a day-to-day basis. And that is the major problem. If you're a casual player, if you are a new player, you have a lot of things to experience. You have a lot of progression to acquire. You need to earn your way up to Health 5. And that is awesome. It's actually a really fun experience to do all that, in my opinion. Earning your set items for the first time, which if you can even do, because who knows if there's going to be enough casual players at the hell mode that you're at to go on and run those dungeons with you. So that's a whole other topic. But again, at the end of the day, there is no reason to log in, because there's no way to ever progress your character, especially if you've spent money. And this is where it gets a little bit strange, because I'm going to go a little bit even deeper here and talk about, even if you're not free to play, it feels, even in my opinion, it feels even worse to play, assuming you're not playing this as like content or a content creator or anything like that. There's no other reason for you to be playing this except for progressing your character. If you have spent money, let's say you're in a position like myself where you're at 3K resonance, what do you need to do to get your next upgrade for resonance, or for your next upgrade in general as a powerful character? Your time invested in this game, or even if you wanted to spend more money, is so exponentially large that logging in every day or spending a couple extra dollars does absolutely nothing for you. In fact, if I wanted to get my next upgrade, assuming I didn't get like incredibly lucky or incredibly unlucky, it might cost me $300 to $400 just to get one part of an upgrade, which is like 90 residents for me, which is absolutely insane. So just to give you an idea, there's even for whales, the amount of things that we would have to do to progress our character is so much because we spent money. Then you'll never be incentivized to spend money again because it's so far away. So they've really, in my opinion, kind of got an awkward situation here, because let's say they're targeting the casual audience. Well, they've incentivized warbands, which in my opinion is counterintuitive to their casual audience targeting. Well, let's say they target the grinders. Well, they've made it so that you can't grind in this game. And if you decide to spend money, then it's so insanely like low value that you don't even want to do it as a whale at some point. So I'm just not sure what their audience here is. I know a lot of us, including Darth and myself, a clip on his channel, talked about how we think that they nailed their target audience early on in this game. These updates that they're putting out, to me, do the exact opposite. If their audience is a casual 1 to 2 hour a day player, are they ever going to go ahead and log in for an hour or two and set up a specific time in their week with their friends, if they even have any that play this game, and go and do warband content? I don't think so. I don't know why they're encouraging this warband system. It's interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's a cool looking update. I just think it's misplaced. That's the problem I see. And if this update was another feature on top of something else, I would have no problem with it, because I think the update in general is good. I just think that in this situation, when they're talking about what we're asking for and what our audience, or their audience rather, in general really needs, it has to come for progressing your character. That's the only way, in my opinion, that this game will cause veteran players to return and people to continuously log in. Otherwise, they're going to have to focus on new player acquisition and really ramp up some sort of new player experience. And in my opinion, just abandon the warband system, or just make it solo but grouped type of thing, like a clan, like a mini clan. So let me know what you all think down below. Let me know if you agree. I think the biggest takeaway here in this video, for me at least, is that, to me, Blizzard seemed to have identified their audience and then did a great job of targeting it and doing the updates to where it's perfect in terms of, making sure there's a server paragon and making sure everyone keeps up and things like that. But then you do this and it's like a complete 180, in my opinion. So very strange to me. I'm not exactly sure what to say at this point. Again, I'm not going anywhere. I plan on covering this game continuously. I'm going to have another video out tomorrow talking about some of the family bonuses, most likely, which I think are absolute garbage, but some things you can do with it instead. Definitely still enjoy the game. I just wish I could get stronger. I don't feel like I can ever do, and I haven't felt like I got stronger since Hell 4 came out, because I got my 6-piece set item. So again, let me know what you think, and I'll leave you there. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.